This is the Pulse Metrics Show, episode 7. Welcome back to the show, everybody. For those of you who are new, welcome to the episode. I am your host, Pulse Metrics, aka Jackson Girding. Again, if you're new, this is a little talk show that I do where I just yap about sports, boxing / MMA, WWE if I want to, all of that good stuff. I try to give my most honest opinion. I don't try to lie ever on this show. So if you are watching, you're getting 100% honest me. Starting with our first topic, it is about the game, the absolute drivel that I watched yesterday. The Thunder defeat the San Antonio Spurs and go up 3-2 in the Western Conference Finals. This was one of the most miserable games that I've ever in my life had to sit through. Mainly due to the fact that it's been the same problem that everyone has been complaining about the Thunder since around the 2023 to 2024 season. Around that time is when this really started to get bad. And it's just the constant amount of free throws. I'll give you an example. SGA scored 32 points, but he shot 17 free throws. Made 16 of them, which is impressive, but something has to be done about this. It's just, it's gotten to the point where you can't really hate the player, you gotta hate the game. Because SGA's not the one. SGA's just playing the game, man. He's just adapting to what the NBA is now. What the NBA is, anytime there's even a little bit of contact, not saying the NBA sucks. I think it's the best out of the big three, NFL, NBA, MLB. But it just goes to show that anytime there's even a little bit of contact, you get called for a whistle. You get called for a foul. And SGA is taking full advantage of that. He's drawing and baiting the defender to foul him. Well, mainly him. He launches himself into the defender, throws the ball up 8 feet in the air, and draws the foul. That's not basketball. I will say that. That's not basketball. Honestly, it takes the fun out of watching basketball to begin with. I've voiced this over and over again, my disdain for the OKC Thunder. Not because they win, it's just because the way they win. I cannot stand it. That being said, is that the entire reason why the Thunder won? No, absolutely not. Foul baiting, no foul baiting, drawing the foul, not drawing the foul. The Thunder played a great game, especially with their bench. Their bench has been the main reason why the Thunder have been able to pull out these victories because of how dominant it is. You got the other Jalen Williams on the team. You got Isaiah Joe. You got Cason Wallace. You got Jared McCain. You got Alex Caruso. And I could go on and on and on and on about how dominant this Thunder bench is. But I want to elaborate real quick on Jared McCain because Daryl Morey will forever have spitballs shot at him for trading Jared McCain. Because these playoffs, Jared McCain has been an animal. He's been a dog. And to think that we traded that guy away when this series versus the Knicks, or throughout these playoffs, throughout this season, we really could have used him. Because when you see the Sixers, they're running a 6 or 7 man rotation. We don't have any depth. We could have really used a guy like Jared McCain. Now, it wouldn't have made the biggest difference in the world. I don't think that Jared McCain would have come in and everything would have been automatically fixed. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we really could have used him. But no, we traded him away to a team that really didn't need him because they already had all this depth. But no, they added another Swiss Army knife to him. Jared McCain dropping 20 points off the bench, hitting multiple clutch three-pointers, especially, again, in the fourth quarter or overtime. But we traded because Daryl Morey, such a thick skull to where he can't see talent if it was right there smacking him in the face. Sorry if that was a little rant. Another bench player off the Thunder, Alex Caruso. We all know how good this guy is. We all know how good he is. I don't think I need to say anything else. This guy drops 30 points off the bench. Or at least when Jalen Williams is out, then he comes in and he's productive himself. We all know how good of a defender he is, especially on the defensive side. We all know how good he is. His three-point shooting has really taken a step up. His ISO scoring for a bench player has really taken a step up. But elaborating on the Spurs, Wemby did not look like himself. Wemby, his final numbers look all right, but when you actually use the eye test, he didn't look like the dominant Wemby that we all know and that we're all used to. It was Stephon Castle that was the driving force of the Spurs last night in that game. And I'm a big Stephon Castle guy. I think that he is a top 10 point guard in the league, arguably top 5 point guard / wing in the league. Argue with me if you want. I'm just being completely honest. But the Spurs got to clean it up because right now it's looking dire. The Spurs defense wasn't on the level that it usually is. Isaiah Hartenstein was just hitting floaters on Wemby. Wemby's defense wasn't up the standards, even though he did have 5 stocks. Wemby's defense, especially in coverage, wasn't at the level that it needed to be. Especially against, as I mentioned, Isaiah Hartenstein, who was just hitting floater after floater after floater over Wemby's head. That can't happen. SGA had a slow start, but when the second half came, he was torching Stephon Castle on offense, especially in that ISO scoring. And the worst part about this is that the Thunder's doing all this without Jalen Williams. Without Jalen Williams. So I can only imagine what that game would have been like had they had Jalen Williams. And it makes me think, what does Jalen Williams' future look like with OKC? Because the Thunder are arguably proving that they don't really need Jalen Williams all that much. They're perfectly fine without him. So what do? Do they try to trade Jalen Williams? Do they try to trade him for like an extra draft pick? Maybe acquire some even more young talent? I don't know. But what I do know is that Jalen Williams' service might be no longer needed in OKC because they seem to be all good without him. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Another thing, can this Knicks team actually win the NBA Finals? Can they actually? My answer, honestly, yes. Can they? Absolutely. Will they, though? I'm not so sure. But let's focus on the can first. Can they? Absolutely they can. I fully believe that the Knicks are very capable of beating the Spurs or beating the Thunder. Because this Knicks team right now is looking unstoppable. We all thought that the Cavaliers, who were coming off of a series win versus the number 1 seed Pistons, we all thought that series was going to be a nail biter. Especially me, I thought that series was going to go to 6 or 7 games. But what the Knicks did to the Cavaliers gave me all the confidence in the world that they can beat the Spurs or they can beat the Thunder, who, mind you, they have already beat this season. They know how to win, especially with the Knicks against the Spurs in the NBA Cup. They have the formula. But the question is, can they win a series? This Knicks team, I think they can win a series. This Knicks team is riding so high right now. Again, Cavaliers just coming off a series win versus the 1 seed. They look like an amateur. They look like the 15th seed in the East. At least that's what the Knicks made them look like. Because holy moly. Jalen Brunson obviously winning Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Well deserved. This guy, again, I mentioned it. I believe Jalen Brunson is the top 2 point guard in the league. I think he's either on the same level of Luka or has surpassed Luka. Because when you really compare them, not to take anything away from Luka, I'm just making an argument for Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson has got ice water in his veins. If I need a player to trust with my life, with the game on the line, and I had to pick between Luka or SGA, not SGA, between Luka or Jalen Brunson, I'm picking Brunson all day, every single day of the week. Now I know Luka has the finals appearance, all that, and I know how dominant he was in those playoffs. I know how dominant he's been in the playoffs. But Jalen Brunson has a finals appearance now too. And now we just got to see what he does. But if he wins the finals, he is absolutely, no question about it, no dispute, surpassing Luka. Even though I already think he has right now. But it's just about this Knicks team. Everybody contributes. Even when Jalen Brunson's having a down game, you got Cat, dropping 19 points, 14 rebounds. We all thought that Cat wasn't going to be able to bully Jarrett Allen, because Jarrett Allen was the one doing the bullying to Jalen Duren versus the Pistons. But no, Cat just absolutely made Jarrett Allen look like a college basketball player. Cat has really emerged as just a true superstar. It's always been debated, like, can Cat really, be that superstar center that we all know he can be? He is now. We got to start considering him that. Josh Hart, unbelievable series. Deuce McBride, who I consider to be one of, if not the most underrated player in the NBA. He had a great series. Mikal Bridges finally became worth all those picks that the Knicks gave up to get him. You got Jose Alvarado, Jordan Clarkson, Mitchell Robinson, OG Anunoby when he was fully healthy. Everybody on that Knicks team band together, and they destroyed the Cavaliers. By the way, let's go to the Cavaliers. James Harden, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. Like, you're washed. You're done. You're burnt toast. You're history. You're a has-been. Because what in the world was that performance? In an elimination game, you only score 12 points and go 0 for 6 from 3-point. I'm done. I'm done giving you, well, obviously, I know how in your prime with the Rockets, I know how good you were, but now I'm done giving you any credit. I'll applaud you for certain things you do, but when it comes to certain things like big achievements, I'm not applauding you for it. Because I know that it's all going to go to waste later when you crap the bed in the playoffs. You do this every year. When am I going to stop, thinking that any year is going to be different? Because it's not. And to think I actually thought that you were the driving force of that team, that was your team, no. Donovan Mitchell, that is Donovan Mitchell's team. To think I actually hear people say that about James Harden, that this is his team, no. Donovan Mitchell is the one over and over and over again bailing out his teammates. Donovan Mitchell, over and over again, is the one dropping the 30-point or 25-plus point games. Donovan Mitchell is the one who's being the leader in the locker room. Donovan Mitchell is the one showing up in the bigger moments. Not James Harden. So I can't respect that in an NBA player. I'm sorry. I just cannot do it. James Harden, he needs to go. The Cavaliers need to either trade him or release him. Because most likely you're going to release, because who in the world wants James Harden at this stage in his career? I can't name a team. But yeah, the Knicks are going to the NBA Finals, and I think they have a strong chance to win it. Another topic I want to talk about is a lot of hate I've been getting on my wide receivers list. Why do I have Jackson Smith-Njigba outside of my top 5? Because talent-wise, I believe, like based on that last list I did, the best route runners, I believe that JSN. I'll start by giving credit to Jackson Smith-Njigba. I believe that Jackson Smith-Njigba currently, right now, after that season, he is the best route runner, pure route runner in the NFL, and he showcased that fully this past season. Nobody could cover this guy last season. But my anti-Jackson Smith-Njigba argument is that, well, for one, I don't think he deserved his Offensive Player of the Year last year. I think that should have gone to either Puka Nacua or Bijan Robinson. Because we'll start with Puka Nacua here. Yeah, he had more yards, but Puka Nacua had more yards after catch. He had more receptions. He had more yards per catch. He had the longer catch. He basically beat JSN in every other stat category when it comes to receiving other than yards. The voters just looked at the yards and they thought to themselves, yeah, JSN's the Offensive Player of the Year. And it wasn't even a lot, and it wasn't even that many yards. And I guarantee you, Puka Nacua played one less game than JSN. Do we really think that JSN would still be leading in yards, leading Puka Nacua in yards, had Puka Nacua played that extra game? No. I guarantee you Puka Nacua would have gotten an extra touchdown, over 100 more yards, more than 129 receptions, which, by the way, led the league. So, yeah, if Puka Nacua, if one game is what separates you, I don't know what to say, man. It was close, but I don't think JSN deserved his Offensive Player of the Year at all. Was he a candidate? Absolutely. What player who leads the league in receiving yards isn't? But that should have gone to Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua was snubbed out of the Offensive Player of the Year. Now, you would think that winning the Offensive Player of the Year would put you in my top 5. No. It's the same reason why I didn't put someone like Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas Jr. that high after one season. Simply because it was one season. We need to see another season like that from Jackson Smith-Njigba in the playoffs. Or not in the playoffs. We need to see another regular season like that from JSN. Not only that, but I feel like during the end of the year, JSN started to slow down. JSN did not have a very good second half of the year. He just didn't. Because by Thanksgiving, JSN was on pace to be the all-time leader in receiving yards for a single season, and he ended up with only 1,700, not even close to Calvin Johnson. So that's what kind of bumped him down a little bit for me. You can argue with me if you want, but the guys I have ahead of him are, just killer wide receivers. Puka Nacua is one of them. I already explained Puka Nacua. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase are also another one of them. Ja'Marr Chase, Justin Jefferson are more proven. Amon-Ra St. Brown is more proven. I feel like Malik Nabers is more proven because Malik Nabers, even though he's played less time than JSN, I've just been, when I use the eye test, I've been more impressed by Malik Nabers than JSN in the past. So that's all I really have to say about that. I'm strictly going off of mainly talent and ability and the eye test for this list. And when I watch, JSN, I'm sorry, is outside my top 5. He's number 6, and he's lucky to be number 6. But that is where I'm going to wrap it up. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for listening to me yap. I had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun with this show. I hope you do too. So make sure to like, subscribe, do whatever you got to do to show support. You know I appreciate any and all help that you can provide. Hopefully we get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the summer. So take care, you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.